Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to take this moment to say thank you for listening to the Real ResQ podcast. It means a lot to me that you enjoy these stories as much as I do. Since the start of this podcast, we've had a lot of support from all over the world. It has been amazing. Now, we have companies joining our team that also want to say thank you for all that you are doing out there standing the watch. These companies are offering discounts on their products as a way to support the rescue community and those tuning into the Real ResQ podcast. Just go to therealresq.com, click on sponsors, and see these incredible offers for yourself. This episode of the Real ResQ podcast is brought to you by Breeze Eastern, the world's only dedicated helicopter hoist and winch provider. Axness, because when lives are at stake and conditions are challenging, clear communication is of the utmost importance. SR3 ResQ Concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. And Airwave, the Airwave Performance Mouthpiece, helping you to use breathing to your advantage. Breeze Eastern, they dedicate themselves to our helicopter rescue world. Since the very first helicopter rescue in November of 1945, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured superior rescue hoist solutions. While much of the technology and the unique mission requirements have changed over the past 75 years, their commitment to the rescuers, the operators, and those being rescued has not. Contact them today by visiting them at breeze-eastern.com. The Axness PNG wireless ICS system can bring cutting-edge wireless intercommunication system technology to any aircraft. The PNG system can be fully integrated into an existing ICS system or can be carried on and off as a mobile base station. They can go anywhere at any time on any aircraft. Plus, with the strongest and most robust waterproofed handheld in the market, this system can take a hit and keep working. Their wireless intercom systems are designed to enhance situational awareness through improved communication capability. This system brings superior noise canceling technology to eliminate rotor wash and engine noise from your ICS. The Axness PNG wireless system is currently deployed in more than 1,800 public safety, air ambulance, and search and rescue aircrafts worldwide. I have personally used the Axness system in 4 different countries and on 5 different airframes. It is awesome. If you want more information, contact them today at axness.com. That's AXNES.com. You just make sure you tell them Quinny sent me. SR3 ResQ Concepts is a training company that can help your helicopter training. They train daytime, nighttime, aerial firefighting, hoist, long line, fast rope, rappel, and more. They can assist your program with standardization and safety checks or just an FAA annual refresher. With the certified flight instructor pilots and experienced crew, they are ready to help your agency keep up to date with current techniques, rules, regulations, and equipment. Plus, right now, SR3 is offering 10% off anything in their web store with the promo code, all capital letters, Real ResQ, REALRESQ. Plus, they are offering another 10% from their partners Petzl and their equipment. All you got to do is send an email to info@sr3rescueconcepts.com, mention this podcast, and they'll take care of the rest. And Airwave. What if I told you that you could train harder for longer and recover faster just by wearing a mouthpiece? I know, I questioned it too. Then I gave it a try. The Airwave Performance Mouthpiece is a breakthrough in performance technology that is scientifically proven with over 15 years of peer-reviewed, published research at the Citadel to open your airway by 25% for improved breathing, resulting in a 20% decrease in respiratory rate, an increase in muscular endurance, and 50% reduction in cortisol levels post-workout. Now, what does this mean to me? Well, now I'm able to train harder, recover faster, and be even more prepared for when that SAR alarm goes off. You don't need to take my word for it. Try it yourself and see how you can use your breathing to your advantage. Go to airwave.com or visit them on Instagram @airwave to learn more about it. Then, when you're ready to give it a try, Because you heard about it here at the Real ResQ, you get 10% off with the promotion code Real ResQ, RealResQ. Coming up in this episode of the Real ResQ, we are joined by our first guest from Arizona. He comes to us from stories of like high mountain, down in the valley, going into another state. The stories are freaking awesome. So from Arizona DPS, please welcome our next guest, Mr. Michael Allen. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real ResQ again. All right, this time we've got a guy. He's from, well, you're from Arizona. Are you from Arizona?
Yeah, born and raised Arizona.
Nice. Okay, cool. I want to make sure I got that one right. From Arizona, currently working with the Arizona DPS, which is Department of Public Safety.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, got to make sure I got that one right. Jeez, oh man.
Nailed
anyway,
it.
Mr. Michael Allen. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you for coming on. I've actually been in touch with a bunch of you guys down there, like Dave Marama and Kanan, and now you. And, you know, I had an opportunity to come down and train and work with you guys for a little bit with Priority One. So this was kind of it was only a matter of time before I was going to get one of you guys on here.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know you were down here training with us with Priority One.
It was like the first couple classes. So me, Will Milam, Joe, oh my gosh, Joe Martin and Dan Cassetti, and there was a whole bunch of us. But that's how I know Sharon. So yeah,
Sharon's great.
Yeah. So, dude, welcome to the show, man. I'm so pumped.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, I guess let's get started and give us a little background, a little bit about you. Born and raised in Arizona, got that. How did you get into Arizona DPS, and what brought you to search and rescue?
Okay, so everybody thought I was a fool, but so I was in the fire service.
Wow, that's a great way to start it.
They did. I mean, I was in the fire service for 15 years. You know, I started in 2004 in Nevada, and you know, that's where I got my first fire job, and then eventually made my way back to Arizona after I got married and everything. And I got settled into one of the fire departments here in the Phoenix area, doing real well, loved it, promoted up the ranks, you know, was in the captain's seat. And speaking of Sharon, the agency that I worked for was, you know, we had the fire department and then we had the EMS side. And Sharon worked on the EMS side. She was one of the EMS battalion chiefs, and she had left to become a state trooper. And
you know how like against all firefighters like that's not a thing, right?
Right. Usually it's the other way, right?
Yeah, totally. Oh, I can't stop thinking. I'm gonna go be a fireman.
Well, I run into Sharon at the gym one day, and I said, "Hey, Sharon, what's up? How's how's DPS treating you and everything?" And she's like, "Oh, it's amazing. You'll never guess. I'm in Air Rescue." And I'm like, "Air Rescue? I didn't even realize DPS had Air Rescue." You know. And little quick background about me: I love aviation, and I've always been interested in like a technical rescue type job in aviation. But you know, you get into the fire department. If you didn't happen to get on one of these giant departments in the country that has its own helicopters, which are very few and far between, it's pretty much out of the question. And I was just like, I had no idea they had it. She's like, "It's amazing. It's so awesome." She's like, "You should come do it." Like, "Oh yeah, just come on over." Right. Like, you know, like I'm just going to walk right in.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, actually, we're kind of in a weird position where we have very little medics in the agency as a whole. And to get into air rescue, you have to be a medic or a pilot and a state trooper. So she's like, and we're growing. So it would be a really good time to come over, you know? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't know about that. But it nestled in my brain, you know?
Yeah.
Where it just kind of wedged itself in there. And I kept thinking about it to the point where it's keeping me up at night. And I kept talking to my wife about it, and she was kind of like, well, maybe you should just go do a ride along. So I called Sharon. I said, hey, this is like 4 months after we had this conversation. I said, hey, I'd like to maybe do a ride along. She's like, yeah, come on over. And so I went over there the day I did my ride along. It was Angela Rose and Jake Arnold were the crew on duty. And at that time, we only did 2-man crews because they were in the smaller aircraft, the 407. So I did a ride along with them. They took me flying, and I came home that night and I told my wife, I'm like, I think I'm going to apply. Like, I'm going to apply to be a state trooper. And my wife was kind of like, wow, I was really hoping that you were going to hate flying. You know? And she was like, you worked your whole career to become a fire captain and all this stuff, and now you're just going to give all that up? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, if I get hired, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, you know? So she was like,
bro,
okay.
that's awesome.
Yeah. You know, what's funny? She was like, what about our quality of life? You're going to go through another academy. What about the pay? I'm like, well, I'm going to take a huge pay cut because I'm going to go from captain to state trooper, like base pay. And I had a brand new 2015 King Ranch F-250 diesel.
Oh my God.
A Harley Street Glide and a new toy hauler. I'm like, I'm going to sell them. I go, the payments on those will make up for the pay cut, and then we'll figure it out. You know, she's like, okay, that's what you want to do. But she's like, she goes, I'm not moving. So if you get stuck going like assigned to highway patrol up in like 4 corners, I ain't going. So you're on your own, you know? I'm like,
you know what? Good for her. Be a blunt out there, right? Boom. That's how it's gonna roll.
100%. She was totally supportive, but she was like, here's my line.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sounds like my wife. I love it.
We're like, okay. So I apply, go through the process, end up getting hired. And I'm like, yeah, we're doing this. So here I am thinking 2 to 3 years, maybe more in highway patrol before I can get enough seniority to go over to air rescue. We're towards the end of the 7-month academy. At the end of the academy, they make assignments. And I had worked really hard in the academy to be able to have, you know, to be at the top of the class so that I could pick where I would go, making sure that I wouldn't get assigned 4 corners, you know, or I could stay near my house. I wouldn't have to move.
Yeah.
So I knew I was getting the spot that I put in for. Well, they came in to make assignments to everybody. They never assigned me anything. And I was like, oh man, they accidentally skipped me. I'm going to get screwed. You know,
I'm going to 4 corners. My wife isn't coming with me.
Yeah. So my sergeant then has this pause and gets this shit-eating grin on his face. He's like, who didn't I assign? You know? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. He goes, oh, Alan, nonchalantly, you're going to air rescue. And he's like, by the way, you have to do field training and pass it first. So you'll do that in Metro South, which is on the southeast side of the Phoenix Valley where I lived. And it was not an option for an assignment. He was kind of like, yeah, they don't want to put you in a district that has openings and then take you out of a open spot. So they're just going to put you in a full district with a field trainer. And as long as you pass, then you're going to go to air rescue. And I was just like speechless. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah,
that's amazing. I love
they
it.
were like, I don't know how you pulled this off, man, but nobody's ever been assigned into a specialty unit at the academy ever. And from what I hear, like, you know, it had to go up the chain and everything, but they ended up having an open spot in air rescue that they decided was a critical need to fill, and they had nobody to fill it. There's no medics eligible. Nobody's putting in for it. So I just, right time, man. I got super, super, super lucky. And everybody thought I was nuts. Everyone thought I was nuts. Like, you're going to get screwed. You're never going to make it to air rescue. They're going to put you in highway patrol, all the things. I heard it from everybody. And I'm like, no, man, I'm getting there. I'm doing this, And then, walk out of the academy with the air rescue assignment and did field training in 3 months, finished it, and straight to air rescue for training in air rescue. So that was I got hired in October of 17, 7-month academy, and then 3 months of field training. So literally by, the end of 18, I'm in air rescue
Wow.
training. Yeah. On a
Dude,
4-month
that's sick.
training pipeline. Yeah.
Oh,
It was wild. It was cool. They gave me a couple weeks off so I could take vacation because we were like, after all the training, it was 7 months and then 3 months. And they're like, yeah, you could take a few weeks off because I had another 4 months of air rescue training to do after that. So it was wild, but it was so fun. It was a pain in the ass a lot of the times, but coming from fire, I was 36 when I switched over, and I was like, I knew the game. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm getting paid to learn and work out and all this stuff. So you just got to kind of put that in the back of your mind. And it's the young kids always getting us in trouble in the academy, with no life experience. I'm like, you guys, you got to stop doing this dumb stuff.
Yeah.
It was a pain,
off.
but yeah, it was a pain, but it was a good time. It was a real good time.
Oh,
So
that's good. Awesome,
anyway, that's
man.
how I got in. And
Good deal.
I think I give Sharon a lot of credit for that, so.
All right. I like Sharon.
Anyway.
She was in one of my training classes. That's how I know her. And I know you guys, we already talked about this, but I'm going to say it again because it's funny to me. So she is a diehard Eagles fan, diehard. So
Oh yeah.
I walked up to her as soon as I found that out, and I just kind of whispered to her, I was like, go New England Patriots. And I walked away. She's like, I hate you. We're no longer friends. If I had a gun, I do. And I was like, oh.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, I love
She's
her.
a firecracker. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. She's really, really good.
That's
so,
awesome. That's good.
Yeah, and it's fun being able to work with her now because we're at the same base,
Oh, cool. I like
we
that.
have a blast. Yeah, it's really cool.
Excellent. Kind of run me through a little bit of your training. Like, what are you guys doing currently? So when you showed up to the unit to go through, you said 4 months of training? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have a training pipeline. It's actually changed since I started, but then all of our aircraft other than one, we did rappel and short haul operations out of a Bell 407.
Sick.
So a lot of fun. So, the pipeline starts with like just getting to know the aircraft and all the medical gear and things like that. And then you go into like a tower day where you're doing basic rappelling and setting up the same rappel system we'd set up on the 407 out of a tower, getting used to that. And then eventually, going to setting up the system on the aircraft, setting up the belly strap and the ropes and all that. And then they put us through technical rescue, rope rescue school. And then, so TRT school and then Swiftwater rescue school. And then you start getting into like rappelling out of the aircraft, live rappel operations, live short haul operations, and a bunch of just evolutions of that, all while on the job. So, as you're working with a crew who's fully capable and you're running calls, and then you get to calls and some stuff you can't do it because you're not far enough in the pipeline or checked off, and so you got to see the stuff live, which was cool. So they would drop you off and then do the rescues, and you kind of got to watch it and you're just like, man, it keeps you motivated. That's for sure.
Oh, man.
It's like, I want to do that so bad. You get this, like, you're watching guys get short hauled on a rescue and you're like, what if this is the last short haul call ever? Like, I missed my opportunity. Like, you want to do it so bad that you kind of feel that way sometimes,
Oh my God.
But
just put me in, coach. Put me in. I can do it. I know
exactly.
I can.
Exactly. What if they never go to the Super Bowl again? I'm not even here playing. So
bro.
it was awesome. So it was
cool.
awesome. All Bell 407 training. And at that time it was Kingman, Flagstaff, and Tucson bases. All were in 407s, doing the rappel short haul program. And then Phoenix was in the hoist aircraft, and they were new to the hoist aircraft. And
that's the 429 that you guys are flying. Yeah.
Yep.
Still?
the 429. And when the 429 would go down for maintenance, they would get a 407 and go back to that program. So they were dually trained.
Cool.
So yeah.
Very
And
cool.
now the program's changed. All our new hires are going into hoist school because now we have 3 429s and 2 407s as backups. But you know, everybody's transitioning to hoist.
Hoist.
Yeah.
Are you
which is great.
Are you still required to do both rappel and short haul as well as hoisting?
So we aren't at our base. And I don't know how long Tucson is going to be doing it. In fact, they're so focused on hoisting, they probably won't be either. Kingman and Flagstaff will maintain a more current routine with the rappel and short haul. Yeah. But if for some reason we get a 407 assigned to us, you know, in Phoenix, we can quickly take the whole crew and go out for a day and get current. So we'll just re-up everybody's currency in a day, and then we'll be in service. But the way we're going, it's probably really not going to happen, to be honest. With 3 429s, what's more likely to happen is if Tucson or us go down, they'll move the brand new one from Flagstaff to wherever it's needed, and we'll just stay hoist. It's just the capabilities with the hoist are ridiculous, you know. It's just so much. So.
But I like options. Like I love the fact that you have an option to propel and short haul. I love it.
Oh yeah. I mean, rappelling out of a helicopter for the guys who've never got to do it. And I know there's a lot out there who haven't gotten to short haul and they haven't got to rappel. It's badass. So much fun.
Sick. Yeah, totally.
It's so much fun. So
I'm jonesing just thinking about it right now. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, it's so fun.
Yeah. So cool, man. Very cool. So you get through all your training and everybody's got a first rescue. Come on, Michael. What you got?
Yeah. So, okay. Every time, you know, it's like, what's your first rescue? It's like, okay, I got like 3 different rescues that come to mind. So you have the rescue that was like the first real rescue I got to see while I was in training and help with a little bit. And then there was my first rescue after training where I got to do the cool stuff. And then there was like, okay, I'm out of training. I don't have a partner and I'm at my assigned base and I get my first real rescue, like totally solo medic, solo pilot. You know what I mean? So I think getting into all 3 of those would probably be good.
Let's roll, dude. I love this, man.
So first rescue was in training. It was during monsoon season in Arizona. We have a really cool canyon. We have lots of canyons in Arizona, but there's a canyon called Aravaipa. And Aravaipa gets, you know, hikers and campers. They usually do 2 or 3 day trips through this canyon. So I'm coming on duty in the morning. I'm in Tucson. That's where I did all my training at. So I'm in Tucson. I'm actually on my way to Tucson, driving up I-10 from Phoenix. Get a call from my trainer. He's like, hey, how far out from the base are you? I'm like, yeah, like 15 minutes. He's like, okay, I'm 30 minutes out. There's a rescue in Aravaipa Canyon. There's supposed to be like 11 people trapped with flood water. And I'm like, okay, awesome. He goes, I'm behind you a little way. So get all the gear ready, get everything ready to go. And so we can go as soon as I get in. I said, okay, copy that. So get to the base, getting all the gear. He gets there. We head out. Because there were so many people reported, Phoenix was also assigned to it. So they were going to meet us there. So we had 2 helicopters going, both 407s. So at the mouth of the canyon is this there's like a couple little ranch houses with some property. So we land in one of their fields and start making a plan. So first thing first is we strip the 407s down with no doors. You know, we're going to be down in this canyon, so we want as much weight off the aircraft, as much power as possible when we're flying down in the canyon so we can get out if we need to. And we're going to like figure out where everybody is and what the situation is. So we start flying the canyon, start finding these people. All right, making a plan to get them out. So what we decide to do is set up both aircraft for short haul. And we're going to fly in, rappel a rescue specialist in to like the first group of people. And then one helicopter will he'll fly in, short haul somebody out, and then like a circle, just flying in and short hauling out. And the rescue specialists on the ground just hooking people up as they come, right? And there was like 3 different groups. So we start doing that. What I got to do was help set everything up. And then as the short hauls came in, I got to take people off the short haul line, just at the command post.
Okay. That's okay. That's
it's totally
awesome.
It was awesome. I'm like, this is so cool, right? But one of the RSs got to fly on the line. 2 of them actually got to ride the line for like 11 short hauls in a row. That's awesome.
Oh,
so,
yes. That is freaking badass, dude. I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. So anyway, we did that. And then as we started pulling people out, we were trying to match people up to vehicles in the parking lot. And we found that there was actually not 11 people, there were 16. There was a family of 5. A park ranger had come up and they had a log of everybody who was permitted to be in there. And they're like, yeah, we're missing a husband and wife and 3 kids. We hadn't found them yet. And so we had to start flying in there. We ended up finding them. We ended up getting them out. Same type of plan. But one of the things that happened is one of these groups, there was a group of 3, they were like young 20s, and they had made their way up this like pinnacle, this peak to get out of the water, because the whole canyon floor flooded, by the way. So everybody was like scrambling and trying to stay in these places. One guy had there was on a ledge all night while it was raining, and a boulder hit him in the head, and he got stung by a scorpion. Yeah. So these are like, not only are patients like they're cold, dehydrated, hypothermic, but some of them were injured and stung. So we're also setting up, triage for all these people and everything. But anyway, these 3 people had kind of scrambled up this mountain. The plan was just to do a hover ingress egress on them. And they were the last to come out because they were in the safest position. And they were like, Mike, do you want to get inserted on this and help load them onto the aircraft? And I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yeah.
I was so stoked. So, and what was funny is at the time, I wasn't even trained on hover ingress egress yet. So we come hovering into this ledge, my trainer's like talking me through the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, I got this. We're good. So I jump out of the helicopter. I help get them on board. We do 1, take them out, come back, get the last 2, take them, and then they come pick me up. And after that, I was just like on cloud 9. It was awesome. And then my trainer was like, I don't know if we should have done that. Like, I forgot we hadn't really trained you on this yet. I'm like, it's fine.
Totally cool.
But it was good. Yeah.
So man.
Fast forward a couple months, I get done with training. I get checked off. All right, Mike's good to go. He's allowed to do everything. Literally the next shift, I come in and we get a call for like a 18-year-old kid. He's on the back of Mount Lemmon. He shot a deer on a hunt, and he's tracking it, and he falls into like a ravine and breaks his leg. And it's in thick trees and bushes. So only way in is to rappel in, and only way out is a short haul. So the very next day after I get signed off, I get to do about a 60-foot rappel in and a 3.5 mile short haul out. It was awesome, man.
Holy shit.
So, full pet bag, broken leg, got to, go rappel in with all my gear, treat him up, splint his leg, give him an IV, give him drugs. And then we fly out on a short haul for 3.5 miles. And they bring us out of the mountains, and the sheriff's office had blocked off this road. And it's like all these, like a line of, I'm coming in, like hanging under the helicopter, on a 150-foot short haul line. And I'm just like, there's a line of cars for like a mile in each direction. And they're all just watching me get dropped with this patient in the middle of this intersection. I'm like, this is so awesome, dude. So Yeah, it was cool. That was really, really cool. So we land, they lower us down. We turn him over to the fire department guys for transport and everything. And that was like my first rescue after being officially signed off and trained. And then fast forward a little bit
Well,
later.
actually, hold on one sec, because
Okay.
I got a couple questions about that one. So
Oh
for those
yeah.
that
Okay.
don't know, Mount Lemmon in Arizona, that's up at like 10,000 feet at the top, off the top of my head.
It's
Maybe
pretty
not quite
close.
that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's around nine
All right. So
something.
the only reason I know this is because we were up there, myself and Will Milam. Oh, here we go. So 9,171 feet in elevation. So it's like cold up there. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because if this dude goes up there and gets hurt, falls down in the canyon, you're like maxing out the aircraft in power.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So do you remember what the altitude was when you guys went up there to drop in, to rappel in?
I don't remember what the altitude or the density altitude was at that time.
Okay.
I also probably was still so new that I've been like, huh? To be honest,
I'm okay with that.
even though
Cool.
that's one of the first things we learn, when we start training.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't click though. It's not there yet.
However, you do bring to mind another rescue. It's funny how you forget everything. But we just had a really significant rescue up there, which I was the SO for, and it was at night. And
so
it was
SO would be hoist operator. It's actually systems operator, but
yes,
that's the hoist operator guy. Got you.
Correct. I was the hoist operator for this, and this was at about mid 8,000 feet in the middle of the night in the winter in the snow.
Holy, oh my gosh!
And it was that was a 5. We did 5 hoists, 5 people and 2 dogs on that rescue. It was gnarly,
man.
It was a gnarly one. Yeah. So
okay,
I totally
wait a
forgot
minute.
about that.
We're gonna come back to that one too. We're gonna come back and totally. Let me go back to the first one. All right. So your second rescue, first one, you rappel 60 feet in, right?
Yeah.
You're on deck. You're in now the ravine with the hunter, broken leg. So the pet bag, patient extrication package. It's a bag. There's a Beaumont bag. There's a Terramont bag. There's a whole bunch. It's kind of like it's an enclosed litter. So you go down with a backboard, full med gear. You smoke this guy with some good drugs. Yeah. You pull traction?
Little fentanyl, no traction. Just splinted him up. It wasn't if it was like fib tib. So
got it. Okay. So give him a little fentanyl, make him feel comfortable, package him up. Now you're solo on the ground, right?
Correct.
Oh my gosh. So once you package him up, you get him on the radio and be like, all right, ready to come and get me. They come in short haul. And for those that really don't know, the short haul is this long line that's connected to the belly of the aircraft. Should be on 2 cargo hooks. I believe that's like standard now.
But that is standard. We still haven't upgraded to that, by the way. We're doing the belly strap still. So.
Oh, okay, perfect. So you've got the belly band that goes around through the inside of the aircraft and then connected to the hoist hook or the belly hook.
Cargo hook. Yeah.
Cargo hook. Thank you. They drop the line in, you connect, ready for pickup. They pick you up off the ground and then fly you 3 miles to the landing zone.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
That's they just lower you down.
Bro.
So it's fun. Yeah, it was cool.
Sick.
And everyone's like, of course, everyone's like, I can't believe you got that for your first rescue. Like, that's such bullshit. Right?
And you're like, I can see it now. Like, as you're like, cruising past a mile worth of cars, you're trying not to wave, like, hey, what's up?
I know. It was fun too because we're just flying, and it's like, I feel like, I loved when I was a little kid, I loved Peter Pan, and I'm like, dude, this is man, I'm living it right now. I'm freaking Peter Pan right now,
Hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So now bring me back to this. So you got 5 people stuck on the side of Mount Lemmon up at, what did you say, 8,000 feet?
Mid 8,000. Yeah.
Holy
8,400 ish. Yeah.
And 2 dogs.
2 dogs. So it was 3 people.
Oh, 3 people. 5
3. it was 3 people, 2 rescuers who also
Oh,
became and 2 dogs. Yeah,
got
ground-based
it.
rescuers who we had to rescue. So yeah, that was
Yeah. With the ground
awesome.
rescuers already there, did you have to send anybody down, or are you just sending the gear down to pick them up?
They got there right when as we were coming into the scene, and they got trapped as well. This was the conditions were really rough. A lot of snow this year up there. Um, warm days, lots of snow, freezing nights. So it created this really, really steep ice pack. So what happened is these people started on this hike. It's a big loop. Okay. It's supposed to be like a 2-hour loop. Well, as they come around one aspect of the mountain, the trail starts to get snow on it. And they keep pushing down the trail until eventually the trail disappears into just a slope of snow. But then it took them so long. They were like, well, we can't go back. It's getting dark. So we have to keep pushing forward. But then everything freezes. One of the girls ended up sliding down about like 50 feet before she could stop herself. And she managed to get back with the group, but they just couldn't go anymore because the snow became so hard. They're basically stuck on the side of a slide. They couldn't move anywhere. They were just stuck, and it was really, really cold. I mean, it was they would have died. Nobody was prepared for the conditions. They all would have froze to death overnight. So it was one of those rescues where like, okay, we have to do this. Like they're stuck. Even the rescuers weren't prepared for the conditions, and they couldn't get out either. They got totally stuck. And so
Wow.
it was nuts. And even when I inserted my RS, he, who was very experienced, was not quite prepared for the slope. And we got some pretty cool video of it, but he ended up
Yeah.
sliding
Yes,
down
please.
20.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk later. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
He ended up sliding about 20 feet a couple times before he could stop himself. And he ended up getting to them. He was able to make a bunch of hasty anchors, create a system to secure everybody. But we ended up having to go get ice axes and shovels so he could build a platform to get everybody stable to do rescues off of. It
What
was a
the
long,
heck?
yeah, it became
That's
quite an
sick.
operation. Yeah, it became quite an operation. So yeah, it was a good one. Yeah.
Ice axes and stuff. That's not something I would think about with Arizona. That's just
No,
not. Yeah.
and it's like in the winter we have a lot of snow in Arizona. We have a lot of big mountains, you know. One thing it comes to mind that a lot of people forget about Arizona too is it's hot here and we have high altitude. So in the
Yeah.
summertime, man, our aircraft are working. They are
Yeah.
working. It's not like we're not flying down the beach, We're like high altitudes and it's hot.
Yeah.
It gets sketchy sometimes. But
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
that rescue was a really good one. We ended up doing we did the first one coming out was a double up with a survivor and a dog. We flew them to the command post, came back, inserted the dog harness and some gear back in, the shovels and stuff. Um, hook went in to insert gear. We brought the hook back up with a single up survivor. Flew him to the command post, and then we had to go for fuel back into Tucson while he was getting everybody else kind of packaged up. So we went to fuel in Tucson and we put together a big care package. I mean, we made coffee because we went to the base for fuel, and we knew it was going to take him a little time to get everything ready. So we made some coffee, we got some M&Ms, we got some snacks, put it all in his bag with another so a couple more AVEDs and everything.
So
So the
the
next time,
AVED is hold on, we gotta make sure everybody knows the
oh,
ambulatory victim extraction device. It's a big jacket and it comes up between your legs, 3-point connection, and it sits like a lazy boy. It's beautiful. Love
it's
it.
a, yep. So we picked up a couple of those from the Tucson base, and we came back in, dropped that stuff off, brought it, equipment went in, single up out, go back to the command post, and then come back in, double up with the dog, you know, back to the command post. So we tried to do as in little hoist as possible, but I think we ended up doing like 7 hoist cycles on that for the rescues.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty
Here's
wild.
Was your boy pretty stoked on coffee and M&Ms?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I get on the radio. I love you guys.
I have to give this dude props. I mean, his name's Mike Snyder. You probably met him.
Probably,
But
maybe.
yeah,
I don't know. I'm
he's
gonna say yes. Hey, Mike, good to see you and talk to you and hear about you.
he used to do Mountain Rescue, which is one of the bigger search and rescue organizations in Arizona before he became a trooper. And he's got so much experience, and he's our lead technical rescue instructor for our base. Just like he's one of those guys. I could say this about everybody that we work with, but he truly is like one of those guys that, you know, when you have something, you want him with you. It doesn't matter if he's the hoist operator or the rescue specialist, you know, whatever he's doing is going to be good. You know, you just don't have to worry. Yeah, he's a good dude. So.
I like it. Oh, I'm freaking sick. Oh my gosh. Well done to you and your entire crew for that one. Jeez. Freaking badass. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So now I'm going to circle all the way back to the beginning a little bit, because you said you had 3 rescues, like a first to first to first. So now we're on number 3 of your firsts.
Yes. Okay. So
okay.
I get done with training in Tucson, and I'm officially signed to Kingman Air Rescue, which is, we call it Western Air Rescue, but it's in the northwest corner of the state. Us and Flagstaff, we kind of split the north half of the state. We each take half of the Grand Canyon, but it also depends on who's in service. It's not all of our bases are 24/7. Our air rescue units 24/7, but not every base is available every day, because sometimes they're down for maintenance. There's no backup, not enough manpower, etc. So we happen to be the only aircraft in the northern part of the state this day. And we had just finished a search in Flagstaff, landed in Flagstaff for fuel, and it was getting dark. So we're on the Flagstaff base on their ramp, fueling up, and the phone starts ringing in the base. So I run inside and answer it. And it's the park service at the Grand Canyon. And they said, "Hey, are you guys up and available?" I said, "Yeah, what do you got?" I said, "Well, we have a report of a mid-20s male who's fallen. We don't know where he is. I'm still getting more information, but this is the trail. It's called Hermit Trail. He had one other person with him who had to leave him to get help. The person who left him thinks he's possibly dead, but was alive when he left him. But we don't have exact coordinates." And he's like, "I'm still working on getting it, but he fell off Hermit's Trail somewhere." So, okay. Well, we have like a 45-minute flight, so we'll start heading that way, and then, update us while we're en route. Okay. So I go back, tell my pilot, "Hey, we got a rescue in the Grand Canyon." He's like, "Cool." Get our night vision goggles on, our helmets all set up and everything. It's getting dark, and off we go. Get on the radio with the park service guys at the canyon as we get closer. They don't really have any updates for us. Okay. We update our dispatch. "Hey, we're here. We're going to be off comms," because as soon as you drop below the rim, you start flying down in the canyon. There's no comms with dispatch or anything. So by now it's pitch black, and I'm sure if anybody's flown out over the ocean or anything, just imagine that on a dark night with no moon, and then imagine now you have walls on either side of you. Right. So luckily we're on NVGs and everything. So we're down in the canyon. We're kind of trying to fly this trail. We're just searching around. We're finding like groups of hikers. Like flashlights are real easy to see under NVGs, obviously, especially out there in the dark. No, that's a group of hikers. It's a group of hikers. Okay. Then about at eye level, 12 o'clock, straight out of the windscreen, I see this little light that looks like a star. Like, but it's straight in front of us, and I know we're down below the rim of the canyon. And so I'm like, definitely not a star. It just looks weird. It's too dim to be a flashlight, but it just looks like a star in the distance. And I said, to my pilot, his name was John Haverly. I said, "Hey, man, that looks weird. Should we check that out? He goes, yeah, that does look weird. Let's fly over there. So we fly over there. And what we see is a guy, he's off trail. He's he's in some very sketchy terrain because he's between a couple cliff bands with no trail, and he's hiking with a phone, or it looks like he's trying to hike with a phone light. And we're like, well, this dude's lost. And we're like looking for a dead guy. Right. But we're like, the chances of us actually finding our guy right now, because we don't have enough information, are pretty small. So this guy's in a super sketchy spot. So let's try and make contact with him and fix this problem before it ends up being a worse problem. And then we'll take him up the canyon, make contact with the park guys, and then we can continue on with our search. And so we're like, okay, how do we make contact with this guy? We're like, the plan is to find a place to do a hover insert of me. And then I can hike to him. So we're looking for a place, and it's like, it's just hard to find a spot. So we fly down a little ways, maybe like 100 yards past where he's at. There's a place where the canyon makes a turn. And, you know, when I say it's like a couple 1,000 feet cliff, everybody's seen pictures of the Grand Canyon. It's multiple cliffs that make up, right? There's nowhere that's just like 2,000 feet. It's like 500-foot cliff band, a little steep section, and then a 50-foot cliff band and a steep section, and then 100. You know what I mean? You have all these like sections where, correct. So it makes a turn, and there's like this ledge protruding out, like this point. We're like, hey, this looks like a pretty good spot. We could do a hover ingress here. Okay, cool. So we're bringing it in on my side, and as we come over this ledge, it's looking flat and it's looking pretty big. And I'm like, hey, I think we might be able to fit the helicopter on this ledge. And, you know, there's rising terrain and everything, but my pilot's like, yeah, okay, if you think so, just make sure that rotor's clear I'm going to bring it down real slow. Let's just make sure we got enough clearance with the rising terrain. I'm like, yeah, for sure. So we get the skids over the ledge and we start descending, and I'm watching the main rotor. You know, I got the door open. I got my flashlight on the rotor. I got checking the tail and everything. And we bring it in and we land on this ledge. So now we've like landed the helicopter on essentially this massive cliff face, right, on this ledge. And it's kind of like, okay, be careful crawling under the rotor, because I'm not shutting this thing down. I don't want to take the full weight off the helicopter on this ledge. So, it's like, let's brief this for 5 minutes. What are you going to do? You're going to belly crawl under the rotor with your gear. Yes. Okay. What are you going to do? I'm going to belly crawl under the rotor. Like, we are not losing our heads here. Right?
Dude, I love this.
Yeah. Well, it ended up being really good too that that we were able to land, because obviously without a spotter, coming back into that spot for a pickup would have been a lot tougher. But anyway, he landed. I grabbed the gear and off I go into the darkness. Right. So now I'm making my way. And by the way, our tail rotor's out off like a 500-foot cliff band. Right. And so here I am on this steep section of terrain between, two cliff bands, going, all right, I have no fall protection, no gear, I have a backpack and stuff. And I'm like, if I fall, it's over. This is it, man. So I'm making my way.
You know what? Those are the things we don't tell our wives.
I'm loving every second of this, right? Like this is. I'm like, it's pitch black. I got NVGs on, I'm like, precarious situation. So I'm like calling out for this guy, like going, search and rescue kind of thing. I got my flashlight. Don't hear nothing. So I keep going. So finally I hear some rustling, and it's above me. So I put my flashlight up, and this dude ends up being like about 10 feet above me. And I say, hey man, come over here. Dude looks over the edge. I put my flashlight on his face. He is covered in dirt and blood, covered, just caked. He looks like hell. And I said, well, we were looking for a guy who fell. I assume that's you. And he's like, yeah, I don't know how much longer I can make it, man, and pass out. I'm like, okay. I go, well, can you like sit on this ledge type of thing? So he sits on the ledge, and I climb up on a rock, and I basically have him dangle his feet down. I grab his knees, and I'm like, just come down. And I'm using his body. I'm pushing his body against the face of the rock for friction to lower him to me, you know?
Yeah.
So I get him down to me, and he's like, you know, in a lot of pain. I said, hey man, just throw your arm around my neck and try and hold on. Like, you know, I try to get some of his weight on my backpack, and I go, we got to get to the helicopter. It's, you know, that way, you know? And, I go, once we get there, we'll get you out of here. So he's like, okay. And, we start making our way back just slowly. And I call my pilot on the radio, and I go, hey, Haverly. He's like, yeah. I'm like, this is our fucking guy. This is our guy. That's exactly what I said. And he was like, okay. So we had actually called Phoenix to come respond to this with us, because we thought if we find this guy and he's alive, we're going to need to hoist him out. So the whole plan was to insert me right on a hover ingress. I would make contact, and then Ranger 1 out of Phoenix would be able to come do a night hoist and hoist us out, in case, you know, especially because once I'm hover, like he does a hover ingress with me, he's not going to be able to, it's going to be hard for him to land or anything. So he would just leave, basically go to the top of the canyon and wait. Anyway, because he had landed, I'm like, hey, I'm like, if you can shut down, I said, you have to shut down. I'm not going to be able to get him under the rotor. There's no way I'm bringing this dude. I go, if you can shut down, we can transport him. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna shut down. So he shuts down. By the time we get there, he's already got we have like a trifold backboard. He's got it all set up and everything ready to go by the time we got back to the helicopter.
Nice.
So I get him on the backboard, and then I start my assessment. You know, I go through the A&O, you know, getting his mental status and everything, all those questions. And then, you know, I'm putting a collar on his neck and getting the monitor on him and getting some baseline vital signs, threw him on some O2. And now I'm just kind of chatting with him, continuing to assess his mental status, you know, while I'm packaging him up. And I'm kind of like, so where are you from, man? He's like, well, you know, we're from San Diego. And I said, oh, that's cool. And did you come here from San Diego? No, we're on our way back to San Diego from Texas. Okay. Well, what do you do in San Diego? He's like, I'm in the Navy. And I said, oh, well, what's your job in the Navy? And it's like, pause. And he's like, I'm a SEAL. And I'm like, oh shit. You know, cause I'm like, bro, you're like my hero, man. You know? Like, now I got to take, this is like, I wish he never told me, right? Because now I'm like, it's up in the ante. I'm like, I got to take care of this dude. Like, this dude's a badass mofo, you know? And so I'm like, okay. So we get him packaged up, and my pilot and I are like, quick discussion. Do we go to Flagstaff? That's a level 1 trauma center, or we go to Las Vegas? That's a little bit further, but is a level 1 trauma center. You know what I mean? Like a real level 1.
Got you. Yeah.
And I'm like, I was like, hey man, we need to take this guy to Vegas. Like, he needs to go to Vegas, because I know, like, if he's got a head injury or anything, they're going to fly him out of Flagstaff. They're going to end up transporting him out. And he was like, I'm like, I think he's stable enough to make the extra 10 minutes. This was the kicker. My pilot was kind of like, well, if we fly him to Vegas, it's going to be one of two things happening. We're either going to land in Boulder City for fuel, or we're going to land at the hospital, and we're going to have to go get fuel cans and carry them to the roof of the hospital to get out of here. And I'm like, I'll let you make that decision, man, but we're going to Vegas with this guy, period. And he was like, okay. So we opted to land in Boulder City for fuel.
Nice.
And I stayed in the aircraft with him, which, I mean, it's against policy, but it was the best thing to do for our patient. It was just one of those situations where it's like, what's the best thing for this guy? So we splashed on a little fuel in Boulder and then got to into Vegas to Valley. I think no, we did UMC Hospital, and gave a report and everything, and back to Kingman we went, and so what was cool about this was the next day when I live in Mesa, which is in the Phoenix area, and it's a 3.5-hour drive to Kingman. So when I'd go to Kingman for my shift, I would do a day on, a day off, and a day on, so I could do 2 shifts and then have a significant amount of time off, and I didn't have to do that drive as much. But Kingman's only about an hour and a half from Vegas. So on my I was going to be off the next day. I'm like, I'm going to go to Vegas and follow up with this guy. So I got off duty. Like by the time we got back to the base, it was like, 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So take a nap, get off duty at 8, drive to Vegas, went to the hospital, go up to his room, and his buddy who was also a SEAL was a college track athlete, thank God, who had to run up another 6 miles from where he fell up a very steep trail to get help.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this trail's no joke. I mean, it's most people would take a day to get down and a day to get up. They were like, let's just go up and down in a day. Why not?
Of course. Why wouldn't they?
So anyway, I walk into his room and there's some people there, a couple. And this woman looks at me across the room, and I was just kind of like, I'm in street clothes now. And I'm like, hey, I'm Mike. I'm the medic who brought him in last night. And she cleared that room and collapsed on my shoulders with one of the best hugs I've ever had in my life. And she just started crying. She's like, you're our hero. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, your son's my hero. I called it first, but it was his mom, and they had found out from his buddy that he had fallen and were on a flight to Vegas from Texas. And they didn't even know he was getting transported to Vegas. It was the only flights that they could get that were close enough to drive to the Grand Canyon. And they had no idea where he was going. So they ended up being with him all night. And it was cool getting to know them a little bit and everything. So I chatted with them for a couple minutes, and then, go into around the corner, pull his curtain, and here he is sitting in his bed. Half of his head is shaved, and he was growing his hair out and everything for a deployment coming up. And he's got like a ton of stitches in his head and everything like that. So I said, so what's the damage? And he goes, they shaved my fucking head. That's like all he was pissed, man. But he had shattered scapula, radius ulna fracture, fib tib, both lungs collapsed, 4 vertebrae. He was massively messed up. He was really messed up. And what we'd gathered after later investigation is that he fell a total of about 150 feet over 2 major cliff bands. So maybe about 75 feet each, possibly. But he was jacked up. He was impaled with cactus and rocks and tree branches, and everything like that. But we kept in touch and everything, and he did pretty well. He messaged me, he sent me a text message on Christmas Eve, like a couple weeks. This incident happened on the 19th of December. So he texted me on Christmas Eve this picture of a stick about 1/4 inch in diameter, about this long, maybe
But that's about what, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches.
Well, 6 inches. Yeah, it's about 3 feet. Yeah,
3 feet.
3 feet. No, 4 or 5 inches or something like that. It's all like goopy looking. Yeah, it's on like a piece of gauze. It's on one of those stainless steel little tables. So I text them back. I I go, what the fuck is that? He replies, it's a big ass stick. And I said, no shit. Where'd they pull that out of your ass? He goes, no, that was into my wrist. It like impaled into his hand
Oh
and it was in
my
his
God.
wrist. And he said
Oh,
he kept having pain in his wrist and they couldn't see anything on x-rays. So they did a little exploratory surgery and they found that in there, you know, but, and then he was like, yeah, I'm going in for
holy.
surgery today. Yeah. So he, on this Christmas Eve, he went in and then he was like, yeah, I'm going in for surgery. They're going to rebuild my scapula, you know? And I'm like, dude, the fact that you survived a shattered scapula, that's a lot of force, you
Yeah.
know? So
Holy good Lord.
I know. And then, the guy deployed. This was December, March. He deployed. If you
He
can
was healed
believe it.
up by March to be able to deploy.
I don't know what they got going on
Freaking
over there, bro. But
solid.
yeah,
Wow.
beast. Like he was hard. He was hard to get to the helicopter, man. It's like he's a big dude.
Well done, sir. Well
Yeah.
done.
So I got a lot of props from my sarcastic props, I should say, from my when I get a call from Central Air Rescue, who the vast majority of the folks at our central base are who helped recruit me.
Yeah.
And I'd called them to come help with this rescue, and we ended up canceling them because we got this. We're gonna do it ourselves. And of course, the next morning they're like, "Oh, who do the SEALs call when they need help?" Oh, they're giving me that kind of deal. So I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
Michael do the
But
rescue.
yeah, so that was my first solo rescue after being checked off. No, no field trainer with me or anything like that. So
Oh
very,
my
very
God.
memorable. It was pretty awesome.
Dude, those are sick.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Well done to you and all your crews for each one of them. That's
Thank you.
holy cow. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So while you guys in Arizona, one of the things that you guys have quite a bit of is let's see, you call them UDAs, which
Yep.
is
Undocumented aliens.
okay, people crossing the border. So for the
Correct.
US, for those that don't know, people on the southern side of the border, they tend to try to come over, and that's from countries down south, and they come over.
Yep.
Well, in Arizona, there's a lot of mountains and there's a lot of areas when you come up to the border that are not
They're
the
not friendly.
friendliest. No, no, they're not. And some of the mountains are pretty big, and some of the injuries
Absolutely.
that happen are really bad. And I know this not just from you guys, but from Customs and Border Protection. Those guys deal with a lot of this too. So
A ton. And a lot of
yeah.
times they're on our aircraft.
Oh, you know what? That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. We
So
partner with those guys a lot, but they do a ton of it obviously as well. And yeah, it's a big problem, but it's
yep,
cool because, the vast majority of those folks are trying to make a better life for themselves, despite all the political stuff and everything. The majority of them are really trying to seek a better life. I don't blame them one bit for trying to do what they're doing, but they get themselves into some pretty gnarly stuff.
yeah,
And we have
yeah,
mountains on the Arizona Mexico border with pine trees. That's how high
yeah.
elevation they go. I mean, they get snow and all that stuff. So it gets pretty treacherous. And then of
Yeah.
course it drops down into a very, very dry desert, so
Uh-huh. It's crazy. So with that said, you actually have two rescues that had these the undocumented, what is it? Undocumented what?
aliens,
Aliens.
aliens. Yeah.
Undocumented aliens. So you were called out for two of these, like two separate incidences that stand out to you. So
Yes.
I'm ready when
So
you are, bud.
I had just gotten transferred to Central Air Rescue, and I'm now getting trained up in the hoist program, and I am not eligible to be a rescue specialist or hoist operator yet. I can do hover ingress, hover egress, stuff like that on the 429, but I wasn't checked off to be a hoist guy yet. But we get called for a rescue, This was a UDA. It got passed on to us from Border Customs and Border Protection. They gave us coordinates, and what they said was, "Hey, we got a call from a immigrant via what's the app they use? Like a phone call app,
Like WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. That's exactly it.
Hey.
So we got a call
Pull
via
that one out.
nailed it. We got a call on WhatsApp of an immigrant, and the GPS is coming in this location on this mountain. The problem is the mountain is on fire.
Oh my
So
God.
whole wildland fire. And so they said they located her in a Blackhawk, but the smoke was too thick to make a rescue. They were hoping it would die down, but it really didn't. And so they said, maybe you guys with a little bit smaller aircraft can get in there and find her. So they passed it on to us. And we're coming from Phoenix. Our Tucson base wasn't in service this day. So yeah, so we got the coordinates. They gave me the number on WhatsApp. This is what makes this rescue. Well, the fact that she's in the middle of a forest fire. But
Holy shit, dude.
So they give me the number, and I message her. So we're translating. She's from Guatemala, only Spanish speaking, and we're texting on WhatsApp. So I'm going, "Hey, this is Mike, DPS Air Rescue. We're en route to your location. Where are you? Are you safe?" And she's replying to me. And WhatsApp is translating our conversation.
Wow.
So I said, "Can you take a picture of where you're at and send it to us? Because we're trying to figure out where she is." She sends me a picture. All you see is fire. Everything's burning around her. I'm like, this is nuts, dude. And we got like an hour and a half flight. So I'm going like, do you have space? She's on a rock area. Okay. So we have like a pretty significant sense of urgency to get out there. And so I'm just texting with her the whole time. If you're, stay where you are if you can, and all this stuff. And it was wild, man. So we get out there, we start flying this mountain, and it's like, I don't know if you've ever flown over a forest fire before, especially
No,
at night.
Not.
I should send you some footage of flying over a fire. It is very, very difficult. So now imagine you're flying over a fire. Like, just imagine 1,000 acres of hot embers under night vision goggles. It looks like the Milky Way exploded. I mean, and then now try to find a light from a phone in the middle of it. Like, it's not happening. It's nuts. And so we flew it. We could not find her. And we're texting with her, and she's like, "Please save me. Please save me." I mean, she's texting us, "Don't let me die," and you're going like, "Oh my God, we got to find this girl." So we decide that, "Mike, we're going to land. We're going to kick you off." So they kick me off. I'm in radio contact with the helicopter. I'm still texting with her. They did that simply so they could get in tighter to the mountain, get some of the weight off the aircraft. We stripped a whole bunch of other gear along with me, and they go flying. And it's kind of getting discouraging. Well, we have a very seasoned medic who was full-time with us for 21 years, and now he's full-time on the SWAT team and part-time with Air Rescue.
Cool.
Eric Tarr, super stud. And he just sees a light that just looks a little different than everything else, than the fire and the embers. And he's like, "Let's look at that." And it ended up being her cell phone. And it was like, it was wild because the phone was about to die and all this stuff. So then they were like, "I don't even know if we can do a hoist with all the heat coming off the fire and everything." Anyway, long story short, they end up
No.
doing
Long story long. Long story long, dude. I want details, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Okay. So they end up, they get a plan together. They end up inserting Eric as the RS. I don't remember who was the SO for this rescue, but they insert Eric. Eric climbs to her. It was one of those situations again where no fall protection. If you slip, it's going to be, not only are you going to break your legs, but you're probably going to be unconscious and your body's going to burn up because it's a forest fire. Yeah, he gets to her, gets her up in the AVED, and then they hoist him out on a double up flyaway. And they take her to a command post. She's covered in soot. She's breathed in smoke all day. She was in rough shape, but she was conscious and everything, vitally stable for the most part. And they got her to the command post and did all that stuff. And then they came and picked me back up. But, I had a small part in the rescue, but that one stands out a lot because it was just so unique. And having that communication with her was amazing. It brought a lot of anxiety and stuff, because it was almost like you're the dispatcher.
Yeah.
In a way. So that was pretty wild.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Fast forward maybe a month or two, we get called out for a group of immigrants or UDAs of about 40.
40.
And,
oh my
40.
God.
Yeah. So again, another one of those days where I'm with a very experienced and seasoned rescue guy named Russ, and I was operating as the SO. Russ was operating as the RS that day, per our morning paper rock scissors. And
oh, that's one of my favorites.
So we get on scene, and we had Border Patrol and them were on scene on some 4-wheelers already. There was 6 of them nearly unconscious from heat exhaustion and heat stroke. The entire group was in really rough shape. No good access in or out by any large vehicles, really just 4-wheelers and the helicopter. So we ended up hoisting out, I think we hoisted out 4 that day. And then we ended up shuttling quite a bit more just after they were able to go to a landing zone. But we ended up setting up, a big shuttle operation where we, had fire and EMS come in 20 miles away where they could shut down a road, stage a few ambos and things like that. But the first couple of patients were really bad. And so it was kind of just hoist them in, and we ended up landing we landed some medevac helicopters from AirVac, where we transferred care on those, which we actually do that quite a bit on a lot of our calls. We'll do the rescue and then transfer care to another helicopter, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But
which is super smart. I like that. There's a couple agencies that do that, and I think it's fantastic.
It works great. I love that we're able to transport anything that we want to. But sometimes it's just better to get them on a helicopter that's built for the transport. It's got a medic and a nurse on board. You're not strapping somebody to the floor. They're actually in a litter, or on a stretcher or something. But yeah, that was a cool one, just because it was just such a large group of people and they had some really sick people. It was funny though with that one. I don't know if it was the next day or a couple days later. There's this video going viral on Instagram of me carrying this girl in my arms, and I have my harness on, and her head's bobbing around, and I'm trucking it down this trail. And she's and I have my helmet on and everything. She's like, she goes, is this you? And I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. Where did that video come from? One of the freaking Border Patrol guys was following me, videoing me, carrying this girl to the other helicopter, which was 100 yards away. And I was like, that's messed up, man. Why didn't he help me carry her? Like I was dying. I remember like it was like a dirt road. I had to go down and then back up this hill. And by the time I got to the other helicopter, I felt like it was at the end of a CrossFit competition. Like my legs were wrecked, you know. But there was like no one around to help. And so I'm like, I can't hobble with this girl who's passing out for 100 yards. Like I'm like, and she wasn't very big. So I just scooped her up and started going.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was North American Rescue. You follow their
I do. Yeah.
he posted
Great,
it and they
great
had
stuff.
reposted it, and that's what caused it to go viral. So like all these people were like, is this you? Is this you? Like, where the hell did that video come
Oh
from?
man.
You know, it was pretty funny.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway,
40 people. So was it just you guys doing all 40 people, or did you have a couple helicopters coming in?
no, so we hoisted out 4, and then
Okay.
we transferred care to 2 of them got transferred to helicopters, the 2 most critical, and then everybody else was you know, the next 2 went by ambulance, and then the rest we just helped shuttle. We were able to get a landing zone close enough to where the people, some of them were able to walk a distance, so we helped shuttle out a bunch of them to
Cool.
a command post where, you know, Border Patrol could get everybody round up and organized and everything like that, you know. So
Dude, freaking awesome.
yeah, we do a lot of stuff like that, a lot of those, and especially in the summer, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those, it's real sad, man. The immigrants, we had we had a couple where we had one recently where they got stuck up on a mountain peak in the snow and everything, and we tried to do a hoist on them. We couldn't do it. The winds were nuts. We kept settling with power. We just we couldn't do the rescue, and we had to get some rescuers up in there by foot. And by the time they got up in there, the person we were trying to rescue had they passed away because of the conditions. And that sucks, man. It sucks when you're like right there and you can see them, and you know, and then you can't do it. So, and that was one of the only times I really remember where we just could not do it. It was too sketchy, too high of elevation. You know, the winds were just we just didn't have the power for it.
You know, it's funny. I'm going to go off on a tangent. So a little one. We're going to divert real quick because a lot of people don't understand like helicopter dynamics and that aspect of you get up into altitude. The helicopter does not have the same power that it does down at like sea level, or it's a whole different dynamic. It's a different beast. You have winds that change, like it may come towards the mountain, you get major updrafts, or if it's coming from the opposite side, you get major downdrafts, so it pushes the helicopter out of the sky. And like I get it, I understand exactly what you're talking about, but a lot of people they're like, oh, it's a helicopter. Yeah, 6,000 feet and higher, those helicopters are working, and you might not be able to get in there. It's just, it might not be possible. Or you could be sitting off, let's say you're sitting off, I don't know, like 200 meters, 200 yards, right? And you're like clean air, everything's nice. And then you start rolling in, and you get rocked, and you're like,
that's exactly what happened here. I was the hoist operator on this one. So on the 429, you know, for guys who aren't familiar, I know a lot of people listening are probably operating on like Black Hawks and things where you're kneeling in the aircraft in the door. On the 429, you're out on the skid, standing on the skid, right? Your weight is on the system. You know, you have a strap, you're weighted on the system. You're leaning on, like I like to lean out on my cable, you know, and you got hook in hand.
Somebody taught you really well. I'm
yeah,
just
buddy.
Gonna
And you're like, okay, ready. SO's ready to hoist, you know, copy that. Ready to pilot, you know, pilots copies and say, okay, start your run in. And you start the run in, and, you know, I'm putting cable out. And next thing you know, my pilot's like, we're boarding, we're settling, you know, we're basically slowly falling out of the sky. Like he just, you know, we make another go at it. That's not happening. We just don't have the power. It sucks. Just like, hey, it is what it is. You know, it's like you risk a lot to save a lot, but you're not going to risk yourself. You know, if you can't do it, you can't do it.
And I say that here, we say that here a lot. A lot of other people have said it, is like, their emergency is not our emergency. We're going to
Yep.
do everything we can to help you, but we're not willing to lose an aircraft or lose one of our own guys to go in because you are in a terrible, terrible position. And it sucks to say that, but it's a reality that you have to just understand. So
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
bro, freaking sick,
Yeah.
dude. Okay. We got two more stories that I want to hear about, and like dude, I could do this all day. I really could. But
Awesome.
the two that come to mind, and again, you and I chat a little bit offline, but the one is a base jumper that you guys had to do, and not even in your own state. You had to go to
No.
California.
Yeah. So this one was cool. There's a few things
I
that
love how
make
you
this
just
one.
said that's cool.
There's a couple
Okay.
things that make this one unique. Okay.
Okay, I like that word.
One was the fact that so this is Imperial County, California. It's down by Yuma, Arizona. It's just over the border. Border Patrol, Imperial County Sheriff's Office ended up calling Border Patrol to help for their Boar Star guys, which is their search and rescue team, for help on this one. Boar Star and Border Patrol didn't have a hoist capable aircraft available. All they had was a little A-Star, which they used for like patrol and stuff like that. And so we do a ton of work with Border Patrol and especially their Boar Star team. And so they're like, oh, there wasn't anything near in California available. So they say, let's call DPS, AZ-DPS, to see if they can come out here. We're not far over the border. And we will go into other states when we're requested. We have no problem with that. Like, I've been to Utah, I've been to New Mexico, and stuff like that. So they call us, say, hey, you guys have a hoist aircraft? It just so happened that we did not. This was a weird situation where our hoist aircraft was down and we were in the 407 out of Central Phoenix. And it was one of the few times in the last couple of years we've actually been in it. We were only in it for like a week. So they're like, oh man, yeah, I don't think a short haul is going to work. We talked to the pilot here in the A-Star. He doesn't think it's going to happen. We really need a hoist aircraft. So remember that guy, Mike Snyder, I told you about earlier, who was on the snow ice rescue with me?
Yes, sir.
We kind of looked at each other and our pilot and we're like, maybe we should just fly out there and assess the situation. And of course, everybody's like, yeah, we're definitely going. So we load up our gear. It's like an hour and a half flight from Phoenix, maybe an hour and 15, somewhere in there. So we fly down there, get on scene. There's like 20 Border Patrol guys, Imperial County Sheriff, they're all there. They're all waiting for us. And the Border Patrol A-Star, and they'd all landed, kind of created a command post at the bottom of this mountain. By the way, fun fact, the mountain was Picacho Peak. And Mike and I got really excited about this because we have a Picacho Peak in Arizona as well that we do rescues off of all the time. And we were kind of like, have you ever done a rescue off Picacho Peak, California? Neither have I. How do you feel about being the first crew to have double Picacho Peak rescues? Like, I feel pretty good about that. Let's go. And that's what kind of motivation we have.
Oh, that's great.
So we get out there and, they're like, everybody's like, yeah, man, I don't think you're going to get this guy with a short haul. And we're like, well, let's check it out. So on this particular one, I'm the systems operator. So when we're doing short haul operations, you always have a spotter for the pilot, right? Who is the systems operator, even though you're not really running any systems, but you are conning the aircraft for the rescue. So we get the door off, we strip some gear, we fly up. And what happened, let me give you some background on this guy. The guy base jumped off the top of Picacho Peak and his base jump went to shit. So he ends up miraculously landing on this ledge uninjured. But he's he can't climb down. There's just sheer cliff face. There's nowhere to go. And then he can't go up, he can't go down, and he's not quite high enough to do another base jump. So even though his chute's intact and his gear's intact and he's not hurt, he's just stuck. And so it's like, do we shuttle all these rescue guys to the top of this mountain, spend all night building like a system to rappel down to this guy and then rappel him off the mountain? Or at least just go up and take a look. Like, we got to go take a look, you know? So,
of course we do. That's the best thing to do.
Harness up, doors off the 407, you know, strap in, and up we go. And it's like, okay, we get up where this guy is, get to his level, go up 150 feet, because that's how long our short haul line is. And we have options to shorten we can go 75, 100, 150 feet on the short haul, but because of the mountain and stuff, we need to go as long as possible. So we get up to 150 feet and it's just like, okay, start conning me in. Let's see how close I can get to this cliff face comfortably. And we'll see if it looks like we're over the top of him or not, you know, like, okay. So we're just easing into this cliff and it's just like, you know, we get to the point where I'm like, please, let's not get any closer. You know, my pilot's like, I got it. We're good. We can get a little closer. I'm like, okay, you know, and it's just like, that's what's going on in my mind. Like, okay, yeah, cool. Love it. You know? So I'm like, yeah,
it's
man,
like it's like the backup camera on your car where it says beep, 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 beep. And you're like, I still get a little closer. I know I can.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Of course.
Except for you're the beep.
Yeah, correct. Dude, I can't tell you how many times I've been like on short hover ingress egresses with the 407s and the confined space landings, you know, where you're just like, okay, you know, don't go any farther forward. We need to go, you know, nose left, tail right for 3, 2, 1, hold. Okay, now we can descend. It's like you're fitting the helicopter into like a puzzle piece somewhere, you know? Anyway.
God, you guys are badass out there, man. This is great.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I think we can do this. We're like, is everybody good with this? Yes, we're all good with it. All right, let's go land and configure the aircraft. So we land. The plan is to short haul insert Mike as the RS. So he's going to ride the line in, stay on the hook the whole time. We're short haul, never come off, hook this guy up, and then we're going to start, when he's ready for pickup, we're going to pull tension. And as we start pulling tension, we're going to get it, like once he gets on the rock, on the ledge, we're going to back off from the cliff face a little bit. Like, and we're going to stay there. And all we're going to do, we're not coming back in that close. We're just going to start lifting up and pull tension slowly. And then as they lift off, they're going to swing out. And as they swing out, we're going to turn and fly with it. Like, that's the plan. Right?
Dude. So, dude, I'm loving it.
So we get in there. Mike's dangling down 150 feet. And I'm looking and I'm going, man, he's still far away from this ledge. I'm like, I don't know how we can get him in here. Might not be able to do this, but and I'm like, the way that the terrain and the mountain and the ledge is shaped, I'm like, I think if we just fly along the edge, you know, he might get to the spot where he can grab it and then kind of like pull himself to where he needs to be on the ledge. So I start conning the aircraft and I'm like, I'm telling you, man, I'm like ass puckered hard. We are so close to the cliff wall. I'm just like, Mike's lucky Dookie wasn't falling down on him, on his head. Like it was sketchy. So I'm going, okay. I keep Jonah's our pilot. Thanks. Yeah, you bet. I'm just like, Jonah, are we good? He's like, we're good. I go, okay, keep sliding left. We good? I'm looking at the rotor. I'm like, dude, it looks like we're really close to me, man. He's like, we're good. Are we good? Okay, we're good. If you say we're good, so I'm trying to con him by looking at Mike and I'm looking at the rotor and I'm just like, okay. So Mike ends up getting to the spot where he can grab something and he's able to like pull himself and scramble up into this ledge. And I'm like, okay, he's on, like give him a little slack. So pull away from the cliff. We give him a little slack, descend a little bit. And he crawls up in there, gets a student an AVED real quick. Yeah, Mike never comes off, which is a unique thing to do with short haul. Short haul insert is actually really unique. And we actually had to call our supervisors to get permission to do it because that's not in our SOPs. Like, hey, we want a short haul insert and everything. So Mike gets in there. That's what we do, man. We gets them all packaged up and we tension the line and we pull them off and off they go. Big old swing and we turn with it, fly them down. And we land and like all the Border Patrol guys, the pilot for Border Patrol and everything, they're just like, there is no way you guys just did that. Like, no effing way. They were just like, yeah, it's no big deal, bros. We were all like, we push the limits a little bit sometimes, but everybody goes
safely, push limits safely.
Of course.
I got you.
Risk a lot to save a lot. And it's kind of like, you're always checking with the pilot. Are you good? Like he had the best view of the rotor and the rock, so yes, I'm good. And it's like, okay, no further questions. I trust you, and that's how it is. Yeah. So it was cool. That was a really unique one. And that was Picacho Peak 2.0 rescue. So
California version.
Yeah, in Cali, which I love because if you throw a rock in California, you're gonna hit a hoist aircraft. I think it has so many hoist aircraft.
A ton.
It's like it's so nuts. In Arizona, it's like Arizona DPS. We have 3, right, which is brand new. You got Pinal County has one who's there's part-time, not always in service. Pima County Sheriff has one, kind of the same thing. Maricopa County Sheriff has one, and then Phoenix PD/fire department has one. And none of them are 24/7, 365 except for us. We're the only agency that's 24/7, 365. So that's the whole state of Arizona. That's what you got for hoist and short haul aircraft. And it's like, so get an opportunity to go to California and make a grab was like, oh, yes, awesome. So.
Oh gosh, I love it. I love it, man. All right, I'm gonna go into one more, and this is the last one. You have a rock climber, I believe a rock climber stuck on Globe Mountain, Globe Trail.
The name of the mountain is slipping my mind, but it's near Globe, Arizona.
Oh, God. All right. Globe. That's the town. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So we had these younger guys, early 20s, who went up rock climbing and everything. And they decided to take a shortcut down, get off trail. And one of them slips down this like a waterfall that's created like seasonally by a wash type thing, So he slips down the waterfall, breaks one ankle, sprains the other, and he's just stuck in this stupid spot. It's like if I could pull it up on a map for you, it'd be like the top of a ridge, a big open area, but it's kind of tucked up into the V of the mountain, but underneath him is just cliff, like huge cliffs. Okay. There's nowhere in or out of this place other than rappelling off the mountain with very long ropes, helicopter, or, mount rock climbing with gear back to the top and getting back on the trail. He's just in a stupid spot. But where he slipped down, he's in this like V crevice, right? It's this real tight V-shaped crevice. So we get up there and we say, okay, I'm the RS on this one. And the plan is to insert me on this big open spot. And then I would hike in to where he's at and then assess and go from there. So I end up climbing in there with all the gear I got. I went in with my med bag with an AVED, some splinting gear, and a tagline. With the plan that like, hey, if I need the pet bag, you can insert it and we'll figure it out. So I get to the dude. He's got his buddy there with him. Like, yeah, one of his ankles obviously broken, deformed. So I say, okay, let's get you an IV. Let's get some drugs on board. You know, vitals first, of course, and then all that, and then we'll get you splinted up, and then we'll figure it out, type of thing. Because he's like, I think I can hobble on my other foot. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So we get him all packaged up, get his ankle splinted. He's like, okay, man, like we got a good little distance to go to get to you where we can hoist you out. Because I'm looking up and I'm going, like, we could do a 280-foot hoist, but the cliffs were so high that it would put the aircraft very tight into two cliff walls. There's nowhere to safe fly out at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm okay with the one on one side, but like to be pinched in on both sides where you can't go up, it's like, no, we need to get in a better spot. So I got the guy all packaged up and everything. I'm like getting ready to pick him up and just kind of support his weight, and we hobble him down this mountain into this open area. And as soon as I go to pick him up, he collapses onto his other foot. Right. And so I end up catching him, and he's like, my leg, my ankle, because the other one was worse than he thought. And I ended up catching him under his legs and then picking him up and throwing him on my shoulders.
Oh,
right?
A little fire carry. Going old school.
So I just throw him on my shoulders. And because we had talked about this, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to carry you. But the way the terrain was, it was so many bushes and trees, it didn't make sense. Like, it was too steep and too awkward to use his buddy to help carry him. I'm like, I'm just gonna carry you. So I literally, he goes up, he collapses, I grab him, I throw him on my shoulders, and I throw him on my shoulders, and I just start hiking with this dude. And I'm just like, this sucks. I'm like, okay, I am not stopping until I get to a point where I see that my legs they might as well literally have been on fire. It was brutal. So I'm carrying this dude on my back, but it was funny when I went and picked him up, he was just like, oh, thank you. Like this really weird, awkward grunt and thank you. That was just, so, and let me rewind for just 1 second. I was actually off duty this day.
Yes.
So we had a 2-man crew on duty, and they called me at my house and said, hey man, we have a rescue. We need a third guy. Are you available? I said, yeah, I'm available. So I have an airport by my house. So I just meet them at the airport. So I'm like, okay, babe, see you. I'm grabbing my gear. And I drive to the airport and they come pick you up, So you,
dude, oh my God. I love you guys. What? That's awesome.
Yeah. So like, it's funny because like I'm driving, I drive to the airport and we all get take-home cars because we're state troopers, but because we're not in highway patrol division, we just drive undercover cars. So we get undercover cars. If we need to drive lights and sirens and all that kind of stuff, we can. So I come whipping into the parking lot, grabbing all my gear, and all these people at Mesa Falcon Field Airport are looking at me like, who's this guy? And then like as the helicopter comes in and they buzz me through the gate by the tower, and then I'm like, I run up to the helicopter and throw my gear on. It's like, it's pretty funny, man. It's really cool. It's like there's little kids out there watching the airplanes and like, ooh.
That's awesome. Look at this guy. My hero.
Anything I can do to do something that looks cooler than the fire department, dude, I'm all in.
It did just get dropped. That's hilarious.
Yeah. That's funny. That reminds me of another story. But anyway, so that was like the prequel to this call. So we get there. I carry the dude to a spot. We hoist him out. The hoist is, it's routine. He's a single up with a tagline, and then I do a double up flyaway with me and his buddy, and off we go. Land back down in the parking lot, transfer care to an ambulance crew of him and all those things. What was really funny was we wear cameras on all our rescues. So if you're the rescue specialist, you wear GoPro on your helmet. The as long as you don't need night vision goggles, and then the systems operator, the hoist operator, wears a GoPro on his helmet. Plus we have a camera on the hoist boom. And so we video everything.
Super
When
smart. I like that, by the way. But
it's
anyway,
awesome for training, for
yes.
all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. I mean, just to go back and see everything you screwed up, it's really good because it helps you get better. But you remember when I said how I picked them up? I had taken off my helmet and all my gear, and I'd put it on my bag, and it was recording. And so when I picked him up and threw him on my shoulders, it's all on video. And then we walk, as soon as I start going, we go out of the camera frame. Well, we're on our way back. They land at the airport by my house to drop me off. I go home. I start having Sunday fun day with my family. I'm having some drinks, and then I start getting all these text messages on my phone. And it's the video on my phone that they're sending me is them videotaping the computer screen because they're playing the video back. And they're just sending me this clip of me picking up this guy. Oh, thank you. And then you just hear them all cracking up because they don't know what's going on, on the ground while they're flying around waiting to pick me up. They just thought it was the funniest thing. So just sending me this repeat clip. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. And then, but you hear them just cracking up in the background. It was so funny, but I don't know if it was a good rescue.
You might need to send me that. I might need to just dub it in right here so that everybody else can hear it.
For sure.
Let go. Thank you so much.
So, yeah, that was pretty funny. It reminded me of something telling that story though. Our agency is really big on public relations. So we do a lot of PR events, and whenever a school or something requests us to bring the helicopter to the school, we oblige if we can. Well, for the 9/11 ceremony at my kid's school, they requested us to come. So I called my boss and I said, hey, if we're doing this PR event at my kid's school, can I bring my kids to school in the helicopter with me? And he's like, oh yeah, for sure.
What? Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
So this is one of the coolest. This is probably my favorite story of my whole career, to be honest. And my daughter, she gets to ride shotgun in the helicopter, and we're coming in, and the entire school is lined up for this 9/11 ceremony assembly out in the field. And here we come, circling the field. Everybody's out there. They're cheering for the helicopter. We land, shut down. We hop out. She's right up front. I get her out. The kids are screaming and she's waving and everything. And my wife is videoing the whole thing from the ground. Okay. And she's standing. So Mesa Fire Department came out with their engine and everything, and a bunch of cops. We have DPS state troopers there. My wife's standing right next to the Mesa fire captain. And in the video, as soon as the helicopter shuts down and we're walking up, you just hear him go, well, that's going to be hard to beat. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
Oh, that's great.
But
Dude, you're like the greatest dad ever. All right. That's amazing. Come on, man. That's pretty bad.
Every time I come to the school after that, all the teachers are like, helicopter dad's here. Helicopter dad's here.
As a positive thing, not a bad thing. That's amazing.
No, totally. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
definitely
helicopter
positive.
parents. I gotta. Whoa.
Yeah, not that kind.
No, not that kind. The good kind. The helicopter dad.
That's right. The literal helicopter dad. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Dad of the year on that one. Well done.
It was awesome. It's like I've been in it for about almost 5 years now. Really close to 5 years in air rescue, and it's been, man, I feel like as far as air rescue is concerned, you probably couldn't work for a much better agency that is doing this stuff. I mean, we have so many rescues, we're busy, and our agency, they treat us good for the most part, man. I hear guys at other places that are they're hating life,
it's too bad.
It's been a hell of a ride, man. So far, it's been freaking awesome. Zero regrets going to air rescue and becoming a cop.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, freaking badass, man. 5 years you've been doing this, and you have
yeah.
the list of
Oh,
just stuff you've already done.
yeah.
And
And
we've
it's
really just kind of scratched the surface, haven't we?
100%. I mean, I've had shifts where we've done 4 separate rescues in one shift. It's the amount of like swift water rescues and stuff that like these guys have done that I work with over the years is just like I mean, it's nuts. I mean, we had one that, I was in Kingman at the time, but the guys did a mid-face pickoff about on a cliff that was, 300 feet from the top, 1,000 feet from the ground of a base jumper who just happened to get his parachute hung up on a cliff, and he's dangling by his parachute. And that one made national. I think it went worldwide news in a lot of venues.
Yeah, you guys, we got to get more of you guys on here. I mean, what the heck?
I'm telling you, a couple of the guys that work for us have 20, 21 years in air rescue at DPS, and they're
all right. I know all you guys are listening right now. Everybody's listening to Michael at this moment. You guys are next. Let's go. Give me a call.
Yeah.
Send me an email. I don't care. Get on this freaking podcast. Let's go.
Yeah. Eric, Russ.
Yeah, called out. I like it.
Yes. I mean, those guys have done, I mean, I'll come in shift after them and it's like, are you kidding me? You guys just did what? It's all, and it's, and if those two work together, it's like, dude, it's the black storm. It's wild. Those guys they get into some stuff, man. And they've both been doing it forever. It's like those guys, actually, I think I mean, I know Eric is getting into some teaching. He's getting close to retirement. So I think he's trying to share his knowledge in the teaching world for air rescue. But those guys have so much experience. They're who people need to hear from. I mean, in all honesty, every time I get asked to do a podcast, I'm like, I'll do it, but they need to be on. And I don't know if they really want to or not, probably not, but we can definitely push them to it.
I like that. Yeah. Ask, push, whatever. Yeah, whatever works. Yeah. Come on, guys, let's go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, they've done so much stuff. You're just like, holy crap,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
If our department gave out like medals for saving lives, like, I mean, these dudes would look like, they would look like scales on their whole body. I mean, I'm not even kidding. So many. It's wild.
Oh, hilarious. Dude,
yeah.
I freaking love this. Michael, this has been an absolute pleasure. I got one more question for you. In the 5 years you've been doing this, what advice would you pass on to either those that want to come up into Arizona DPS and do what you're doing, and advice from what you've learned from all your rescues over the past 5 years?
Okay, so first and foremost, if you want to do what we're doing, there's opportunities in Arizona Department of Public Safety. I tell people about them. I think a lot of people they don't want to come work highway patrol, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get the gig. I say, if it was me, I would say get your paramedic first, and then test to become a state trooper. I think right now, like, our unit's growing so much and we have such a need. If you have a good head on your shoulders, you make a good name for yourself, and you're good to go, you're going to spend 2-3 years probably tops in highway patrol, which, by the way, I was dreading doing. And I only did it for 3 months in field training, but it was a blast. I couldn't believe how much fun it was. I mean, it was so much fun. But I tell guys, to me, that's the best route. We do have a new route that we just started doing. We're in the process of hiring 2 more people. We actually started hiring civilian medics. And we hired 2 about, it's probably 8 months now, and they're finishing the end of their pipeline training and everything, and they're killing it. They're doing really well. They're both very experienced medics. Both have some fire background, rescue background. They got hired straight into air rescue, and eventually they'll get an opportunity to go to the police academy and become sworn if they want to. So we just did another testing process. We're working on hiring 2 or 3 more civilian medics right now. And in the next 6 months to a year, we're probably going to open up apps for it again and pick up a few more. So it's something for people to, the opportunity's there. Now you do get paid a little bit less that route. But the benefits are pretty much the same, you know. Cool. But I still think the best route to go is to become a trooper. You know, the pay is higher, benefits are a little better, and I don't know. It's you guarantee yourself, if you can get hired as a trooper, you kind of guarantee yourself a spot in the agency. And I think once you're here, you have a good chance of getting into air rescue at some point. And like I said, we're growing. We're growing. Our third 429, we have it. It's getting set up with all the rescue equipment right now in San Diego. It'll probably be delivered next month, July. It's supposed to be official. And we're sending everybody to hoist school that hasn't been, you know, they're all going to hoist school. So we're transitioning to a full-blown hoist agency. Every time we put a hoist aircraft in service, you know, that's double the medics. So we need a 2-man crew. So lots of opportunity, you know.
Awesome.
I tell people, like, most agencies, you're going to spend years getting enough seniority, but DPS, because you have to be a medic, you know, it's tougher to get in, and that leaves an opportunity to technically kind of get in quicker if you have that experience. So I tell people, if you want to do it, just go for it, you know. Go for it. We have all kinds of other cool jobs in DPS. I mean, it's like bomb squad, SWAT team, hazmat team. We have all kinds of undercover units, and the list goes on and on. It's an awesome agency. It's a huge agency, you know. So we have like so many things you could do. That's a lot of fun if you want diversity in your career path, you know, so to speak.
Cool. Very
so
cool.
As far as all the things that I've learned being an air rescue and what I would pass on, I wish I could pass this on to everybody and everything that you do, especially guys who work in the fire service and law enforcement on the streets, is I would love to share, like, one of the coolest things, in my opinion, about DPS air rescue is we have our safety culture is awesome. We do really dangerous stuff, and we do push the limits, but the one thing that we do is we always go by the lowest, not the lowest denominator, but if one guy on the crew involved in the rescue has the hair stand up on the back of his neck and he doesn't feel good about something, all he has to say is, guys, I don't have a good feeling about this. And we're done. We scrap it. We're just go. We will call our boss to say, we're not taking this rescue. You know, someone doesn't feel good about it. It just like, they're like, they don't care what it is. If you have a premonition, a bad feeling, or whatever, you just voice it and that's it. No questions asked. It's pretty cool. And I feel like that coupled with the fact that whenever we do a rescue, we have a culture where we sit around to debrief, and I'll go, immediately I'm like word vomiting everything I screwed up. Man, I screwed this up, I screwed that up, I screwed that up. And it's, we don't call each other out, we call ourselves out. And that's like a natural process that we have. I mean, it's like we beg for criticism, you know? So I think those two things help keep you safe, and they help build your character as an operator in whatever you're doing, to be able to recognize your deficiencies, to accept criticism, to ask for criticism, and, you know, like, welcome it, and then to really take it to heart and then apply it. I mean, nothing can hone you more than that, I don't think, you know?
Yeah.
So be welcoming of criticism, you know, and take it to heart and apply it. That's what I would say. So,
brother, I freaking love it, man. Michael, this has been an absolute blast for me. I had such a good time with you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing stories with us. I love
awesome.
what you guys are doing. Yeah. I'm like, you have to go to bed right now, and I'm starting the day, so I'm gonna be jonesing for like the rest of the day now. You have to figure out how to like wind down.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It's really cool to be on.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
I enjoyed it. It's fun. It's fun to share some stories and everything. And I know my family will appreciate it. They love it, hearing
Good.
about all that stuff. And
Good.
this makes it a lot easier. I'm like, here, just listen to this.
Yeah. Perfect. When I get back to Arizona into the Phoenix area, dude, we're gonna go hit a couple microbrews, and one of my
That'd be
favorites,
awesome.
shout it, like Santan Brewing, Mr. Pineapple.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
one of my
Yeah,
favorite brews. I'm just like, I know it sounds
Santan,
crazy,
it's
but
awesome.
it's a good. I love it.
No, it's
So-
I actually have some Mr. Pineapple upstairs in my fridge right now, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
yeah, I love Santan. You can buy the big boxes that have all their stuff in them. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
usually have quite a variety of Santan Brewing Company. So
Like,
yeah,
we just
good
totally
stuff.
like gave him a major plug, and I
Whatever.
love it, dude. That's great.
Don't drink and fly.
That's right. 12 hours, bottle the throttle. Let's go.
That's right.
10. I think it's 10. Yeah, we'll go. We're gonna say 12. All right.
I like 10, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Let me ask
follow
the
rules.
lawyers. The lawyers talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
He says he's drinking right now. So
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, I love it, dude. I'm coming down. I'm gonna hang out with you guys. I would love to see all you guys again. So,
dude, come hang. Let's go fly. Let's go have some drinks. Let's do all of it, man. We'd love to have you.
I like it a lot. Right on. I will see you soon. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
You bet. Thanks for
And
having
with
me,
that,
man.
ladies, anytime. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here.
Go.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Please take a minute to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. I'm pulling chocks and taking off. But before I go, if anyone out there has a rescue story they would be willing to share, I would be humbled and honored to have you on as a guest. Or if you have any questions about rescue or anything else we talk about here, send an email to jason@therealresq.com. That's Jason at TheRealResq.com. You can also check us out on our web pages, therealresq.com, our Facebook page, and our Instagram page @TheRealResQ. Again, a special thank you to all of you staying on the watch today. Always remember, when that SAR alarm goes off, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. Until next time, fly safe and swim hard.